Felicitations! It is me, Felicia Day, and this is my podcast. Welcome! It is February something. I don't know. It's almost Valentine's Day, and I don't care. All right? I don't care. I'm going to get aggressive about this because I think it's a stupid holiday. And I'm sorry if you love it. You love it. But don't buy me any chocolate. All right, for real, I don't like Valentine's Day. I think it's pretty contrived, and I don't like pink or red or white. I do like chocolate, but it gives me acid reflux, so really I shouldn't like chocolate. And then on top of all of that, it just, I don't know, I think I've already railed about this for New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve and Valentine's Day are just couple chumpdom because all the restaurants want you to do this prefix menu and they've just churned it out like a cafeteria, and yet they charge you $1 million. And that's it. Also, as a lady, you're expected to wax your nether regions, and I don't conform to that anymore. That was too much information. Boy, oh boy, you guys. I'm sorry I'm not on my fancy mic. So here's the deal with the mic. I have a sound booth set up, but I have to have my desktop Mac computer to move in there to work. And that desktop Mac computer is the one that my baby uses for online preschool. So if I miss the window in the morning to move the desktop Mac back to my office, then I can't really do it. B, I need to buy a new laptop because I can't use my Mac laptop to record a podcast on because the internal fan turns on and is way too loud and ruins the podcast recording. So I need to buy a new one, but I heard a rumor that they were coming out with new MacBook Pros sometime in March. So I don't want to pull the trigger and buy a MacBook laptop because I will kick myself. I will be furious if they release a slightly better version a month before I buy a laptop. So I have the money saved. I'm ready to go, but I will not do this. I mean, also, this is the thing. I don't know. I broke my phone and then I used my phone insurance to replace it. Promptly, the new phone is crap. The Bluetooth doesn't work very well, and it started to get the black spot in the corner that I traded in the other phone in the first place for, and I paid $225 for that. I could have upgraded my phone for $500. So, I'm angry about everything. All technology, all the time. Apple, you're pissing me off. And that was my week. Hi, welcome to my podcast. I want to give a shout out to my books, FeliciaDayBook.com. You can buy them. Wikia, felicitations.fandom.com if you want to know anything I've ever talked about on any of these podcasts. Sean Sandalooky-Look, my moderator, takes a wonderful survey of all of them. Thank you so much, Sean Sandalooky-Look. We have a Discord, discord.gg/Felicia Day is my community. Come and chat about anything. And my other podcast is called Undressing Bridgerton. Our episode 4 is out now, and we are doing it bi-weekly, as I mentioned. So this week, Felicitations will be out. Next week, Bridgerton will be out. We might change that as we get an ad person and a producer to help us. Maybe a network. Maybe? I don't know. So this week the last 2 weeks have been pretty good, you guys. I announced a new project. It's Rule of Cool. I think I talked about this last week. So it's out next week, February 16th. If you want to hear me narrate a book that I did not write, it's my first one. Check it out. It is a lit RPG book. So that is where basically my character has stats. I'm the lead character in the book, and I have stats, and you read them out, and you see if I do well or not. It's very, very, very clever and funny. And if you are geeky, you will have so many references that you will pick out. It's almost like bingo reference time. And it's so fun. It's kind of like I'm in an MMO. I mean, I actually am an NPC in an MMO. And I really like it. So I think you will too. It's on audible.com. So go to Audible, and you'll probably have a free credit and just pick me up. So I don't mean to shout myself out so much, but I broke and I am finally going on vacation, you guys. I'm going on vacation. I'm so excited. That will be in 2 weeks. So the podcast will be delayed. Sorry, but I had to get out of this house. I started cleaning the baseboards with a Q-tip because I don't know about you guys, but I just see dirt everywhere. I see it everywhere, and I've gained 5 pounds since Thanksgiving. And again, I talk about this each week, which means I need to do something about it. Clearly I'm not. I did a small bit of jumping on the trampoline today and was winded. So, just a second. That was my AC. Sorry, guys. So I just need to move my body, and I don't want to. And I ate so many. 2 weeks ago, after the diatribe against, like, I'm just going to eat whatever I want. Now I did. I did exactly what I told you guys I was going to do, and I gained another 2 pounds. Because for some reason, donuts translate to butt fat now. This would never have happened when I was 25. I'm very upset about it. My body's betraying me. It needs to just melt off if I do 2 sit-ups. What is going on here? I did ballet for so long. I should just have overactive, metabolism. It's not happening. So when I finally get some of these writing projects done, I will do 2, 3, 4 sit-ups, maybe a 20-minute plank, 20-second plank. Who knows? Probably not. 2 weeks from now, more cupcakes. That's not even something to tell you about. Why am I even talking about it? Okay, so I will tell you something I'm very excited about. I am going on vacation. So I'm doing a road trip up to some national forests. I'm very excited about it. I'm taking the baby, and she really wants to see snow. I don't know about chains on tires. I don't understand how that works, and I'm scared of it. So I'm like, well, the redwoods are north of LA, and there's a couple of other places we can go with rocks, and I don't know. I'm hoping that she likes it because I don't like roughing it, and it's really far, but I'm feeling so antsy. We went to a really beautiful arboretum here in LA, and we spent 3.5 hours there because it was huge. Nobody was near us. It was a huge gardens, and it was really cool. They have that flower, the stink flower, the meat flower thing that smells so gross, and it only blooms once every 5 years or something. Unfortunately, you couldn't get in to see it, but we looked through the window, which disappointed Calliope quite a bit because she wanted to see Venus flytrap. So I got to find a Venus flytrap and feed that Venus flytrap whatever it is that Venus flytraps needs, other than live flies, because I'm not going to just murder things for her enjoyment. That seems wrong. Life is so hard right now. So vacation time, I'm thrilled. I just want to see different walls. Although inevitably, am I right or not, the bed and the pillow is never better than what you have at home. So I'm paying to go somewhere and be uncomfortable at night. I will be bringing all my pillows, and I will be bringing maybe some sheets. I don't know. My heavy blanket for sure, because there's nothing better than my heavy blanket. Do you guys have one? Boy, oh boy, are they worth it. I'm not kidding. It is literally the most worth it of worth it things. That and a milk frother. They're only like $13, okay? Just buy it. You'll use it everywhere. And you'll be like, why don't I froth everything? You can froth soup. Don't do it. So that vacation's happening, and I literally am counting the days. I just want to get out of my house. I think the kid is too. And also, she's going to start preschool in person in March. And I'm a little bit like, is this okay? But I feel like she hasn't been around another child in a year now. And I feel like there's probably some social implications. I know that I missed and was lonely all the time. And I don't want her to be like, this is a foreign object, this other child. I don't know how to relate. Beep, beep, beep. That's literally what goes on in my mind when I meet other people now. So I just need to get her in the school, and hopefully all the teachers have been vaccinated. So at least we have that kind of protection. But you never know. It is a risk. And my goodness, this world. What do we do? I finished something. This is a big news. Yeah, I finished a book proposal that I've been working on for a while. So we'll see if anybody wants that. And if not, I could always write it myself. Who knows? I'm moving on to something else. And it is so fun. I've also been working on a couple of other writing projects that are TV related. Just kind of pecking away once a week with people. And I have to tell you, it's really fun. I'm only working on things that I really love and I'm excited about and enjoy the process with the other writers. And making it a collaborative process is really kind of scratching my lonely itch a little bit. So I urge you, if you are in your house and you are lonely and feeling kind of isolated, which I'm sure all of us are, like we don't get a convention. They just canceled WonderCon. It's just like, ugh. I mean, they're doing online WonderCon, I guess. And they'll definitely not do in-person San Diego this year. So if you're trying to get that itch scratched, do something creative with a friend. Write a book, write a play, just do something silly. It doesn't need to be anything other than I'm filling an hour with a friend that in a weird way. Start drawing MS Paint. Just share your Zooms together. I mean, honestly, it's all you could do. Just figure out what works for you and put it in your life, because I know that I'm lonely underneath, and the online worlds that I've created for myself, the community on Discord, the Rust server that I play on with my friends, the online games that I play with my friends offline, without streaming. Those are the things that are getting me through. And also working with other people just to kind of collaborate and play. We are not meant to be like lonely, sad creatures, right? I think I wrote that in my book. We're not moose, because moose are solitary creatures. They're cool with this. Moose are doing great during COVID lockdown. So I am working on a lot of stuff writing-wise. I'm kind of missing acting, and so I'm going to share something with you guys that probably other actors probably wouldn't, but I will share it here because I think it's a good lesson. So a couple weeks ago, a week ago, I had the opportunity to, negotiate this deal thing, and I was like, okay, maybe this is the time when you need an agent to help you with this. My lawyers are wonderful, but they're like, you really need someone to help you negotiate this. So I was like, okay, I'm going to reach out. And I had a contact at a big agency, right? One of those fancy big agencies. And, I've been at a big agency before. It didn't really work out for me. And it wasn't like I'm like clamoring to get in there, but you have to understand the pressure that you get under when you're in a high level in Hollywood. All they want is to do is milk you for your work. And the people who handle you really want to be able to steer the boat. So if they offer you something in a meeting, they're like, you kind of better take it or they'll kind of drop you. Even though it should be the opposite, that agents and managers should work for the client. That's not what happens in the creative world of Hollywood, because it's a business. And ultimately, creators are disposable. And that's kind of the dichotomy that all of us face when we get into a work where we're commoditizing our creativity, right? It's crushing, it's soul crushing. But you kind of have to somehow back up and be like, okay, I'm just a widget. How do I make my widget the best widget that makes me happy and be able to do my widget wonderfulness in my own widget way? The widget thing is not working, is it? So anyway, I reached out to somebody at a big agency, and I was like, hey, no offense. I know it's a weird world right now, but I could really use some representation. And here are the things that I've done lately, and here this. And I kid you not, you guys, I have not had a panic attack before. I have not had a panic attack that big when I sent that email since COVID started. So I know you guys, I've talked about how mentally healthy I feel having unplugged and taking this step that I don't even know if I want an agent. I don't know if I want them to work for me. I don't know if I want big appointments being sent to me and pitches being set up. And I don't know if I'm hungry to do auditions all week, and I don't know what I want to do. And I'm still in that place where I'm better, but I'm still in that place that I was a year and a half ago where I was just kind of traumatized and burned out. And so in sending this email, I was having, I'm not kidding, my chest crushed in on itself. I think I might have fainted a little bit. I don't remember sending the email, even though it got sent. And it was just the flood of panic. And if you've ever had a panic attack, you understand what I'm talking about. And I get an out-of-body experience too when I have a panic attack. So all that came rushing back, first time in a year. And I realized oh my goodness, this is what I used to live with. On a weekly basis, I would feel like this. On a daily basis sometimes, I would feel like this. I would be having a panic attack in not being able to deal with a situation or being confronted with something I felt like I had to do even though I didn't want to do it. And so then I realized, they did not want me. So after about an hour, which is not very much consideration, they were like, you know what? I don't think the various departments don't really want you right now. And I'm like, I cried for the first time in a year, but I also felt so relieved because inside I didn't want it to work out. I didn't want to be kind of caught up in a machine that would have their agenda for me, and they would not like me not working hard enough and hustling and throwing ideas at them and then getting up and throwing more ideas at them when those didn't sell and all of that. I didn't want to do it. So the idea that now I'm kind of released from that big agency thing and I'm like, I could just find someone small to represent me. I don't need them to work, throw things at me all the time. I just want to work a little bit, and maybe one day I'll be excited to work a lot more, but right now that's not where I'm at. And just my telling myself that I understand and I'm okay and giving myself a little hug, be like, I'm going to take care of you. I won't do that to you again. It made me feel so good inside. And so, if I look back on, and I'm not kidding you guys, this is actually kind of coincidental because I think I've been in Hollywood 20 years now. And I know that I shouldn't say that out loud because it kind of puts my age in perspective for people. And women, especially in Hollywood, are like, don't tell the people how old you are. Don't do it. And it's been a lifelong problem. Like when I moved here when I was 20, I moved here when I was 20, and I basically was panicked all the time because I didn't want people to think I was over 20. Or I was 21 and I didn't want people to think I was over 20 because I was auditioning for 16-year-old roles for the WB and stuff like that. So it's been a paranoia. So I'll just tell you, like, quite frankly, I've been here 20 years now. And the last year is the only year that I have not been rejected and crushed and cried and had panic attacks the whole time because I'm not being rejected on a daily basis for who I am and what I look like and because I'm not good enough. And it is such a novel feeling that I don't want to give it up. And I think there's a way for me to work, but it's not doing the thing that I did before. And just having that realization and going through that horrible moment of panic attack and crying because I was rejected again is valuable. And it makes me want to be kinder to myself and be okay with changing and letting go of some things that I thought were what I wanted, and also letting go of pleasing people. And these are all good things. They're not good for impressing people. And they might not be good for working more, but I honestly feel like the right opportunities always come when you're most confident in who you are. Because you're not desperately looking for just everywhere. You're focusing on yourself and what is working for you and not. And I think the last year has taught me that the mind and the body are so connected. I haven't had acid reflux almost in a year, except for when I ate that one guacamole bowl that was delicious, but girl, you can't have avocado. And I haven't had as many physical skin problems, and my nails are stronger, and my thyroid is I'm not on thyroid medicine anymore. And so I could see all the physical ailments that I had because of stress. And I'm like, well, what part of that was worth it? Was it really that important to betray who you are to be able to, I don't know, possibly please some people who probably never will be pleased by you? So I don't know. This is not like an announcement I'm quitting or whatever. It's just an announcement that I've shifted my goals to be a little bit more attainable and gentle with myself. And I know I'm going to work more because of that versus going back to the thing that I did before that really wasn't working and partly was the reason why I was getting sick from it. So I just want to encourage you to listen to yourself. And we're under weird circumstances now. And it's hard to kind of evaluate where the circumstances and who we are truly stop and start, right? We could be depressed because of COVID. We could be depressed because of the things that have taken away. We have to kind of examine what is working for us and what is not. And I know a lot of other people in the same boat as me who are blessed with some realizations, but also missing out on a lot of things. And both of those things are important to acknowledge for yourself. So anyway, that was my revelation this week. And I'm really happy not being rejected all the time. And you know what? It made me more firm. This is really funny that I've gotten some trollish comments on Twitter. And I have to tell you, before, I was so worried about blocking or muting people. I was physically distressed and mentally distressed when I got attacked online, even by one person. Right now, I feel so much more resolute and strong inside that I know that that person shouldn't be able to do that to me. And I'm able to block them really pretty easily. And it feels good. And it's not even, there's no guilt, there's no reservation in between that. I know that I am worth something. And if you're abusing me, you can't have access to me anymore. And I know that's really simple and it makes total sense, and it feels weird that I was even never not like this, but I was for a long time for a lot of different reasons. And I don't know. I just want to encourage you guys to protect yourself. And if you are having situations where you're feeling, psychologically or physically distressed, it might not be the internal thing that you're blaming yourself on. Like, I always just thought, oh, I'm a depressed person, or I'm just an anxious person. I understand those are symptoms of something else that I was being put through. Now, I think that obviously, you guys, I'm pretty transparent. I am on an anti-anxiety medicine, and that has allowed me as a person to understand where I'd like to be as a person mood-wise and stability-wise, and introduced me to a baseline that is much less panicked and afraid all the time. And when I got that afraid with that panic attack, that's why it was so startling, because that would not have fazed me at all a year or two ago. I would have just been like, this is what I have to go through to send an email. No, it's not. It's not at all. So anyway, that's my revelation, and I feel like mentally I feel very good about that. So there you go. Another announcement, and it was actually kind of part and parcel to this whole thing. The Guild, my show, is not going to be on Netflix anymore at the end of February. So if you want to watch it all the way through as a movie, check it out. They have chosen not to renew their license. They have a different licensing strategy now. So the thing to go forward doing is to watch it on YouTube after March. And so I'm going to make it live on YouTube for everybody. It'll still be in small chunks. I don't want to release all the movie versions on YouTube because honestly, there's almost no income there. And our DVDs are pretty, it's a pretty good way to get all the extra content and watch them as movies, but you can always watch them for free and share them with your friends internationally on YouTube. I always felt bad about taking off YouTube, but financially, I have to take care of the cast and myself and the producers and, like all the people who made the show, a lot of them, benefited from that. And also just being on Netflix felt like we were a show. We were still the kids who made stuff in a garage that are on the same platform as, $5 million episodes. So I'm so proud of it, and I'm excited to have it back out there for you guys. And if you want to see any of the extras or be able to watch it as movies all the way through, like I said, you can buy the DVDs that are on Amazon and a bunch of other places. So okay. Last thing I have written here on my notes, Clubhouse. So Clubhouse is a new startup company where people, I guess, just have lectures and people listen to them. So it's kind of like audio podcasting, but in a group format and totally unedited. I don't know, guys. When I log on there, the kind of talks that are going on are super like self-promotion-y and VC-ish and just people who are kind of desperate for attention. And I'm just like, I'm too tired to start on another platform and give them my creativity and not get really anything back. You're not paying me for my time. I'm trying to create a profile that maybe I can monetize later, but I don't know. I'm tired and I have not enough bandwidth, and I tried TikTok. It's not... I have enough for Twitch and writing and my baby, and that's it. I don't know what else I could do. So I am on Clubhouse under my name at least, so I'll let you know if I ever do one. Ugh. If you want an invite, I got some. Just go to the Discord. Okay, books. I finished Millennium by Ian Mortimer, and I kind of implied last week that I had read it. I didn't read all of it, so I finally did finish it, and it is really good. It's pretty dense. It's not a fast read, but it is a really interesting survey about the last 1,000 years and how I'm just fascinated about how we're going to put into context this 100 years. Where are we going to start and where are we going to end? I mean, I know we just kind of started, but the monumental differences from 1300 to 1400 and 1000 to 1100, and also the evolution of who we are as a species. It's not so much like, oh, that was invented then and that was invented then. It really is, what really struck me the most about this book was how people and society exist, how people see themselves and their position in human society. At a certain time, people would never think that I have the right to have my own personal needs. I am a vassal. I serve the state, or I serve my king, or I serve my duke, or whoever it is that I'm basically indentured to. People didn't even see themselves in mirrors before 1400. There was not a mirror. It was invented in Venice. So before that, people could just kind of glimpse themselves in a really crappy, wavy kind of situation. They didn't see themselves in a way, and that's mind-blowing, because we look at ourselves every day, all day, or don't you? I do. We look in mirrors all the time. We take pictures of ourselves, like the kind of self-reflection. And this is, I think I mentioned this before, like I didn't want to show my daughter pictures of herself because I didn't want her to be self-aware of herself when she was younger. But like, we're bombarded with ourselves now, and our individuality is so part of who we are. And that was not the way another human would approach themselves and their society before. And I think that's kind of fascinating. And so, you know, I just wonder what this 100 years is going to bring us, and what technology. It's not necessarily technology. I mean, yes, like the printing press was invented, but like the author says, it was introduced, but it really wasn't effective. It didn't affect the average person for 50 years. You know, it was just something of the elite. So is that what VR is? Is that something to come? I don't know. We don't know. We have no idea. And it certainly won't be anything that we predict, right? I can just say that it's scary how things change, and yet we're all kind of the same. So when you read this book, it's kind of like that whole, this is why I love history. You could kind of see yourself being a farmer in 1100 and how you would live. And then you could see why something would come through, like, and revolutionize the way you think, and how the Catholic Church really did transform the world, in good ways and bad. And it's really fascinating. I would recommend the book if you're a history nut. I also I got to pick a book of the month club, you guys, this month. And actually, it's a really good service. So check it out if you just want a book sent to you every month. Do it. I picked a book called Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. And it was I think it's a first novel. So it's so honest and earnest and on the sleeve, hard on the sleeve. It's a lesbian romance about an astrophysicist or astronomer, PhD, who has kind of a life crisis after she gets out of school. And I really liked it. And it had an attitude of being super earnest, kind of like nothing that I do, because I'm kind of snarky and sarcastic and I don't like real feelings. And this is super like on the sleeve kind of stuff. And I really found it refreshing just to have these beautiful female friendships that were very diverse, and these problems that I remember having around, 25 or whatever. This kind of life crisis of identity once you're out of school is something super close to me. And so I really like this book a lot. So if you're looking for a romance book that's more of a coming of older age book, I would recommend it. I'm in the middle of reading 2 books now. So I didn't finish them, but I will wrap them up. I am reading, now I'm sure if you guys went to the bookstore, you'd be like, oh, that's a Felicia Day book. 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. And it is a book about the kind of Trojan War and that time around the Iliad and the Odyssey, and small chapters from the point of view of all the women involved. A lot of the women that you wouldn't necessarily expect, wives of heroes and people who might have even only been Briseis, who was kind of the lover of Achilles, and all these things. I think it's so fascinating. I'm just getting into it, and of course it's my jam. If you liked Circe by Madeline Miller, like, this is 100% auto pickup. They even advertised it at the bookstore alongside it, and I was like, that's smart, because 100%. So I'm reading that, and that is totally my jam. I'm also picked up a math book, you guys. It's called Weirder Maths at the Edge of the Possible by David Darling and Agnijo Banerjee. So I'm sorry if I mangled your name. I'm sorry. I should have looked it up before. I am a bad host. But it's a math book. And now I want to tell you guys, when I was a kid, I would read math books all the time. I would read Fourth Dimension books by Rudy Rucker. I would read books about proofs for fun. And this is kind of like my eternal struggle. Did I read those books because I wanted to read them? Did I read them because I wanted to have read them and impress other people? Did I read them because I wanted to impress people and learn things, but I did enjoy them? I don't know. I do know that my brain is broken now. And simple proofs that I'm reading in this book are like, I'm having to read them so many times, when in fact, that kind of theoretical thinking would have come so naturally to me before. And it kind of makes me sad. And I don't know, that sort of big picture stuff, and also just, I don't know, I love living in a world that doesn't exist. Whether it's like theoretical math and set theory and topology and whatever it is. I remember reading and I would spend hours trying to visualize the fourth dimension. I remember that specifically. And it was my own kind of drug trip, I guess. So it is kind of refreshing to read this book, and it's kind of fun because it has a lot of like colloquialisms, but it is kind of advanced, I think, for math people. And I'm enjoying it quite a lot, except they call maths. So it's obviously like a British book. And so they call the subject maths, which is not what we do in the States. And it's very upsetting. Whenever I read it, I'm like, you misspelled this. So those are the two books I'm going to finish these next 2 weeks. And of course, I'll pick up another one. I have not been reading very much. I've been doing podcasts at night. I've been trying to watch television, which, by the way, I got a ROKU. Not sponsored by, but it's pretty great. And I only got it so I could get HBO Max because they just released HBO Max on Roku. And I get it free through AT&T through my cell phone, but I wasn't able to access it because I had an LG TV because Samsung TVs get it for free, the HBO Max feed. LG do not. Even though LG day one got Disney Plus. So we're in a streaming war and it's crappy for everybody. And I had to buy another $50 accessory to be able to access the streaming thing that thank goodness I don't have to pay for. But anyway, worth it because HBO Max has Studio Ghibli and it has the Great British Pottery Throwdown. The Great British Throwdown, which is a pottery show by the Great British Baking Show. 100%. Okay. You guys have to watch this. One of the judges cries when people do pottery well, and it literally makes me cry. I've been crying a lot this week, and it's not even PMS week. Okay, so that's what I can recommend. I'm watching WandaVision. I talked about this before. I watched episode 5. I wish I had just binged this. I'm waiting until episode 8 to watch the rest of them because I cannot deal with the 30-minute things. Even though it's almost a relief, I got to see them all. So very into it, but I got to see the rest of them together, so I'm going to put that on hold. And I tried to watch Queen's Gambit. It's really beautifully made, but I'm just not there. I'm just not in the mood for that kind of content right now. I want to finish it one day. It's beautiful, you guys. I just don't need depth. I would rather watch like a House Hunter show than anything scripted. And this is kind of like why I'm having a career. You know, I have a bunch of stories that I want to tell. They're not TV. And so TV has become like a reminder of what I'm leaving behind or putting on pause for a little bit. But it's also like, who needs more TV? I just scrolled through that Roku free area and I saw 10,000 shows that I would not have the time to do. So you remember that Super Bowl ad with the guy going through the gold set of mirrors? That's how I feel like when I'm on Netflix. Or any other one of these services that have great content, but I'm just like, I don't know how to consume this. I have an hour and a half, you guys. What am I going to play? I'm just going to sit here on my phone and play this golf game that I did a sponsor stream of and I'm just addicted to. So I would recommend Great British Throwdown. Games, I would recommend, so we've been playing Rust, which is really fun, and we have a lot of people on Twitch playing that same server, so go to Nerd Gumbo. It's really fun. Birdie Crush is the mobile-free game on your phone that you could play anime romance kind of, or it's anime fantasy golf, and I just can't stop playing it. I play it before I go to bed. I have to stop. It's really fun. I'm sorry. And some of the translations are so off, it makes me laugh, and just, I don't know. It's just everything I like. It's it. I also played this game that I forgot to mention last week. If you liked Myst, there's a game called Call of the Sea that's out there. And I think you can play it on Mac or PC, but don't hold me to that. I'm playing on PC, of course. It's like Myst. And it's kind of Cthulhu, Lovecraftian Myst. And I really like it. I need to do another stream to finish the game up. But the puzzles were just hard enough to challenge me. And it's really cool storytelling. So I highly recommend it for a single player game. I finished Cyberpunk. I'm going to be starting Baldur's Gate 3 Friday night. And Valheim. We're going to be starting playing that, me and Raiko and Amy. I think next Wednesday we're going to try it out. It's like a Viking Minecraft meets survival game. And I'm pretty excited about it. The reviews are so good. And a lot of people have recommended it to me. Stardew. So it's like Stardew meets Minecraft meets survival. I don't know. Sounds like a winning combo. Okay. Questions. Edward Woods. I asked you guys on Twitter, and I want to thank you for sending so many questions in. So here they are. Send likey looky look. Thank you so much for compiling everything. I'm picking out some Twitter questions because I just asked, and now I'm doing this. Okay, Edward Woods, what recent board games have struck your fancy? Well, Photosynthesis is a beautiful game, and I was at a board game night right before COVID started, and that was the one game where I was like, I have to buy that. I forgot to buy it, and then my friend Annie bought it for me for Christmas. So, no, get friends that know you really well. And also, this game is beautiful. I even can play it with Calliope. It's a little complicated for her, but she loves the way the trees are, and I kind of step her through it, and she really likes it. So, it's so beautiful, you guys. The trees and the colors and the way the game, it's just simple and lovely. I highly recommend it. I also just ordered a game called Coffee Roaster. It is a single-player board game. I don't know how this is going to work, but it got such high reviews that I had to order it for myself. So I feel like this could be a stream, or I don't know. I just want to play it so bad. So those are the two that I am really eager to play. I haven't been able to invite anyone over, so I just play with Calliope. We got Ticket to Ride Junior, which is great. We have Castle Panic Junior as well, which is great. And we've been playing this game called Max, which is kind of a collaborative story with a cat. It's like a board game. It's very old-fashioned, but it's really fun, and we play it, and we enjoy it a lot. Okay. AJ Providence asks, worst video game you've ever played? I don't remember the name of this game. It was a traditional role-playing game, kind of like Might and Magic. And it wasn't Might and Magic, but it was basically a ripoff of Might and Magic, okay? I played it during college. And this was like, I would come home after, I would take 21 credits. So I never did anything but go to school, practice room all day, go home, play a tiny bit of video game, and sleep on the weekends. So I played this game, and I got to the point where I needed to get a pearl. And the pearl, and I know I had picked the pearl up, okay? Somehow between hours 17 and 28, I had lost the pearl. I don't know if it bugged out. You weren't supposed to be able to sell any quest items, which was this clearly quest time. So I was so furious at this game. I couldn't go back. They would not let me go back to the place where I could get another pearl. I basically replayed the game from the beginning to get this pearl. And when I put the pearl in the thing, I was so angry, I rage quit the game. So I wish I could remember the name of this game. It was, I don't remember it. It was around, I don't know, 1998 probably. And it was it could have been an older game. It was definitely one of those sort of like Grimrock kind of views. And, oh boy. I wish I knew. The rage, I've never been angrier. Think about it now. You know what I'm thinking about it now? And I'm thinking about Luigi's Mansion 3 and the stupid janitor boss. I've tried for the last week to beat that boss, you guys. I'm so angry. I can't do it. I have to get in the thing, and I always shoot my little thing toward the side of the pool, and then it explodes, and then the janitor, I got him out of the water twice total and like 30 times. I had to quit the game. I downloaded Super Paper Mario, and that's what I'm playing with Calliope now. We both love it. I mean, Luigi's Mansion, have an easy mode. I'm a baby inside. Next question. Lynn Schmidt, 14. Did you steal anything from the Eureka set? If so, what? If not, what would you want to steal? I love doing that show so much. Thanks, Lynn. I stole the General Dynamics pin, and I have 3 of them. So I just kept stealing them. And I stole a lot of underwear, but I always steal underwear because I'm like, what are you going to use that underwear for? Sanitize This asks, how do you build a following for different projects? I've been struggling with this for quite some time. Whoa, that is a big question. And I don't know if I can answer it right off the bat, but I will say that you have to love what you're doing so much that you will be willing to tell everybody about it. You need to make it good enough so that when somebody sees it, it's worth their attention, and you need to personalize it and your journey to everybody. So I would first, and do one thing great. You don't need a million projects, all right? This is a thing that I need to learn, that do one thing great, better. It's better than doing a bunch of things kind of mediocre. because you will define yourself better because you're doing the one thing you actually want to do, hopefully. And people will get confused because every time you shift gears, people leave. They're like, that's not what I wanted you to do. I'm doing a newsletter right now. I'm hoping people love that newsletter because it's literally the highlight of my week. I spend like 2 hours writing the newsletter in the morning. I release it and it feels like I did some writing for the day. It's much more fulfilling than this is, quite frankly. I love it. And so, but just every new thing you have, converting people to that new thing is really tough because people just, their attention is valuable and why should they give it to you? Even if they want to give it to you, that you can't reach them. So I would just concentrate on the thing that you love doing, that you would do without the attention, and get as good as it, and you can't wait to show people how you do it, and then get out there and get it out to people who might like it, and be willing to value 10 people to be able to build from a core that's really steady. That's what, all of us think we want to be an overnight success. I promise you're not going to be an overnight success, most probably. Unless you're 14 and you're a British blonde boy. You know what I'm saying? Those people can get a certain kind of success overnight. But who knows how that's going to serve them in the long term, right? Where are they going to be at 40? Probably here, talking into a mic by themselves, talking about how they are having a life crisis all the time. So, but, the first step is you want to define who you want to be to yourself. You want to define that to your audience and what you're concentrating on. And then you have to do the work of commoditizing that. But you have to start from an authentic place where you're not doing it for the praise. You're doing it because you genuinely love it and it's an important part of your world. When I see these pottery people, I'm like, wow, so these people do pottery in their garage for fun. This is not their business. They might do like maybe a flea market or whatever, but this is something that that's fulfilling and they're making room for it in their life. What is worth that to you? Is it collecting things? Is it TV? Is it video games? Is it playing the violin? I have constant battle with myself. Like, you like the idea of being good at the violin. You're not putting the time in. You like the idea of being 5 pounds lighter like you were at Thanksgiving. Like, what is holding you back? Well, first of all, it's probably too many things that I'm prioritizing. And second of all, I just like cupcakes, but that's my deal. Okay. James Webb asks, how does COVID make you feel about attending future conventions? Where are you on the scale from virtual conventions only to, I'm not at risk, I want to hug people in photo shoots? Okay, definitely do not want to hug people. If I get vaccinated, I would be willing to stand next to somebody and put my arm around them, but not breathe on them or have them breathe on me. I don't know if I'm ever going to get to the point where I'm like, yeah, go ahead and hug me. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't like virtual conventions because it feels kind of impersonal. The personal energy is what I really love. I feel like Twitch is that thing for me where I'm interacting with people online. Doing that online is, I've done one of them and it was okay. It was okay. But it's not like I want to sit there and I like to spend as much time as I want on with people. And those virtual conventions, they have to move people through, and I did not feel great about that. So I do have a couple of conventions that I have on the books for September and November. That's all I'm going to commit to. And one of them's domestic and one of them's international. And that's it. I can't imagine doing more. And I don't know if those are going to stick. And I don't know if I'm going to be comfortable doing them. I might cancel. And that's okay, because that's just what has to happen to make me have my family be safe. So it's hard. How about you guys? I know we're all wanting to get out of the house and go see what beautiful things people have been making and support artists and meet people who are part of shows we love. But at the end of the day, we have to, it's not worth getting sick or somebody we love sick. So I don't know. James, I look forward to meeting you again in England. We have had a couple of really fun conventions. You're a true human, and I want to say hello. All right, last question. Young Meg Man asks, how do you feel about someday in the future your daughter and maybe even grandchildren listening to this podcast? Because some aspects of the podcast are like a diary, and the things that you do and some of the things she's doing right now. And following up, is there anything that might change if you know she'll listen to the podcast in the future? Okay, Young Man, I'm so self-aware and so self-conscious that I've rarely done anything. I literally, when I make a gaffe, when I mispronounce a name, I can't sleep that night because I'm having a panic attack. That was like old Felicia. New Felicia is a little more loosey-goosey. I certainly sometimes think back on a podcast and I'm like, wow, you were rambly. I don't know why anybody listens to you. And then I'm like, shut up. You have nothing else going on. So I would say that telling stories about Calliope that are funny and cute and impersonal enough, I would never like tell stories about emotional things she's going through or make fun of her in any way. I try to share my perspective as a mother more than her journey, but I do realize that's a slippery slope. And that's why I post maybe 3 photos of her a year. And I don't want people to recognize her necessarily. She's just an amazing kid who I love, but I'm not co-opting her into what my social presence is because she does not consent to that. And even if she consented to it, she doesn't know what she's consenting to at 5 years old or 4 years old or 7 years old or even 14, right? The things that I've learned are that, especially when you're young, you're a mushy mess that's being formed into a person. I'm still a mushy mess. And so all that outside influence and scrutiny and being too self-aware of yourself can be really super destructive to your inner development. I know that firsthand, so I never want that for her. So she could listen to this and know that I love her and I struggled and I had some real problems with sleep and some real problems with brain chemicals after not sleeping and also some probably hormonal things and everything that I went through. But I think that and I hope I do, at the end of the day, say that she's the most wonderful thing in my life. And I wouldn't trade anything that I've done up until this point because it might change who she is or our relationship. So I'm doing my best. And when she's an adult and has to see me as a flawed human being and has to work through those issues, I just hope that she knows that I did my best. And that's all we can do, you guys. I'm going to cry. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, well, that's it. I will see you next week. Undressing Bridgerton. If you haven't listened to it, it's super funny. You don't even have to watch the show, but you really should. It's really funny. And subscribe to my newsletter at felicitations.substack.com. And I'll see you on the Discord. Okay, guys, bye.